Hey, hi, hello, friend. So today we continue our conversation with Erin Brown. We pick up our conversation talking about the difference between sex as presence versus disembodiment, the history of lesbian bed death, the limitations of patriarchal sex, and so much more. And as just a tease, Erin's answer was in my top 3 best answers. So make sure to listen all the way to the end to see what I mean. So without further ado, here's part 2. Welcome to Season 7 of the Queer Consciousness Podcast. I'm Kit Sargent, and my pronouns are they, them.
And I'm Jess Grace Garcia, and my pronouns are they, them. We're just humans wanting to share the lived experience of other humans.
This season, we're talking about all things sex. We want to have deep, heart-led conversations as we unpack what sex means to us and why it's so important to talk about it.
This is a season of unlearning, relearning, and sharing about a topic that is still considered taboo.
Because at the end of the day, we are all spiritual, sexual beings having a human experience, walking each other home.
I remember when we got married, what's the question they ask you when you get married? People always ask you, they say, what's different? Is there anything different about being married now? Especially if you're like living together already and nothing seems like it should be different. And my answer every time was, yeah, actually, my wife, I felt like there was a wall that I didn't know existed anymore. I thought I had passed all the walls. I thought I had earned all of her trust. And then we got married and boom, I saw that wall come down. And I didn't know it was there. And I just thought like, she's really like, she's really mine. She really trusts me now, and I better not fuck this up. That was a huge moment of really giving herself to me and like signing a paper and saying like, this is it. Like, this is my person. And so for us to even, when I say that, and then I say that we're poly now, that we went through so many things to get to the point where we even invited someone else into our relationship. It was a lot for her to overcome all of those trust triggers to get to the point where she still trusted me enough to allow us to venture into this very scary thing, And I'm just so impressed with how much she has grown in her trust, and I know that it wouldn't have happened without us being together. Anyway, I got sappy, sorry.
Hey, don't ever apologize. I've told you that before.
This is me. I find a way to cry. It's just the way it is. But yeah, I really hear you when you say like giving, like having that one moment where you knew like she heard you is everything. And it's wild to have it compared to that amount of therapy and that amount of like talking and that amount of conversation with people who are just like, but what do you need? Like, what am I supposed to, like, they're not even saying, what am I supposed to do? They're saying, you need to change. They're saying, like, you need to stop being jumpy. You need to stop being triggered,
Yeah, I just needed someone to not feel entitled to me.
See, and this is where if they wanted to, they would, pisses me off. Because a lot of times, like, people will use that, they will weaponize it, where they will be like, hey, look at this, like, top tier person of them basically doing the bare minimum. And you put them up on a pedestal and be like, look, if they wanted to, they would. And it's like, no, that is just basic human decency to see that someone had a visceral negative reaction to something that you did. The intent was not to do that. Their intention, like her intention in that moment was to come up and give you love. Like she wanted to physically express the fact that she is genuinely attracted to you. But in that moment, your body felt fear. Your body felt threat, and it reacted accordingly. And what she did was she acknowledged the fact that she went, oh, I just threatened you. That was not my intent. I am sorry that you feel threatened. I will not do that again. And from now on, I will be hyper aware of this. I will make sure that we can gradually decrease that window of tolerance to now where I'm sure I'm just going to assume here that anytime she comes up behind you, you know for a fact that you are incredibly safe.
Yeah. And that's all it took. It was so simple. And all these years I was like, wow, I'm so hard. I'm so damaged. I'm never gonna, and I really did. I really worked diligently to work through those things so that I could be more present and more physically available, I guess. But even that feels gross to say. Like, one of my favorite things about being in queer relationships is when the other person is not interested in being physical. It feels really nice to me to be like, cool. Can I just maybe like rub your back or something?
Yes.
You're up for that. You know what I mean? To like never pressure someone to have sex with me is so wonderful. It like is good for me. I'm sure it's good for them. We do a thing at our house. We both work from home and we call it a cute problem that we get distracted a lot by one another because we like each other, but then that's like kind of derailing of work. So it's a cute problem. So
Yeah.
So we have puck lights above our doors, and when it's on red, it's like you just really can't come in.
Yes, very smart.
And it's so lovely because like I love respecting a boundary. So I'll be like, well, I want to go see what my wife is doing. And it's like, no, I'm actively leaving her alone. And that's so nice. Like it's just, it can be lovely.
I love the like being proud of yourself moment.
Yeah. Not me respecting a boundary.
Right? Well, especially because like that is clear, consistent communication.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't have to guess. You don't have to be like, is this a moment? Like, can we do this right now? Is this going to be something? And as somebody who is very neurodivergent and is very autistic in terms of like communication, if you do not tell it to me directly, I am going to assume what I am going to assume, which means that I am going to assume not. Like I am going to always err on the side of no. It is never going to be erring on the side of yes. So if you don't specifically tell me, yes, you can do this, I am automatically going to assume that it's a no, which means that I am never going to do the thing. And so unless you explicitly say otherwise, I'm just not going to do it. So unless you come to me and say, yes, you can do this, I'm going to be like, oh, I can do it. Yay.
Yeah, it's because my wife Erica's autistic. We run into that too because it's like she likes to be playful and she likes for me to be aware of her body and want it, of course, but not that it's going anywhere else. And so if she does want it to go somewhere else, she has to be very explicit, but that's not fun for her. And so we've had to find like a fun way for her to be explicit without being too explicit to her that it stops being fun. And so one of those examples, I think I maybe have told it once before, was that she's always walking around in her underwear. That's great. But she loves to flash me and she flashes me all the time. And it's not a sexual advance, but she wants me to receive it as a sexual advance just a little, right? Mm-hmm. Just a little. And the thing that she did one time when me and Jana were sitting on the couch and we're like watching who the fuck knows, Star Trek, something like that. And she walks out and she doesn't have any underwear on. And we both look at each other and we look at her and we're like, hey, what you doing? And she's like, I don't know, what you guys doing? Yeah. We're like, we're just hanging out. We don't have any big plans. You know, like let's leave room. You know what I mean? And then I'm tempted because of like how different our sexual desire is to say, do you want this to be more than it is right now? But the key expression was that she straddled me. Mm-hmm. And she straddles me all the time with underwear on in a koala style way. Sure. I just want to be held. But the fact that she straddled me without any underwear on was a clear indication that we might want to go somewhere else. But how far somewhere else? And so that's when I'm allowed to be like playful and maybe go for it. Like any other time I need to say, can I? Am I allowed to touch you here? Am I allowed to touch you here? Also, she has chronic pain, so I'm always asking like where my hands are allowed to be and at what pressure. But yeah, when that happens, I told her this. I was like, that's actually a really good indicator. So if you don't want to have to say, I'm down, I want sex, let's do this, or I'm open to having sex, then do that. That seems pretty clear to me. Like, come out without your underwear on. Let's go for it. Let's have fun. And it doesn't always have to mean like I'm ready for us to go all the way. Is another thing too. Like she might just be feeling sexy and want to do some sexy things. But orgasm is a really far away feat, and I'm still in a lot of pain right now. So maybe we're not gonna attempt that, you know? But I mean, this is a weird way to say this, but like the silver lining of chronic pain is that we've gotten really good at communicating about what her needs are, how she wants to be touched, and things like that. But there have definitely been moments where she's like, well, I was kind of in the mood, but it was late, or I didn't want to bug you guys or whatever. And I'm just like, bug us, please. We want to do stuff with you. We want to, And, but yeah, we had to learn kind of the hard way about her autistic way of being like going straight from like black to white, whereas I'm kind of always existing in kind of the gray. And it's, because I had desire for her a lot. I didn't want her, like you were saying, Erin, I didn't want her to feel pressure. And because my desire was always kind of like there, present and accounted for. Like, I always want you. I had to learn how to like kind of dampen that so that she didn't feel pressure. But then it was, how much do I dampen this? And is it harming us for me to dampen this too much? And that was hard. That was a really hard learning experience. It took a long time to kind of figure that out. And I think one of the gifts of polyamory is that my sexual drive is not the enemy anymore. In some ways it was. In some ways it was the thing that made her feel like she wasn't delivering. And even if that was her own thing, it was still something we were in together.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard because it was like, I don't require you to deliver. I just desire you because you're my wife and I desire you. And but it doesn't mean you have to deliver. And that was a hard, because at the end of the day, she wants to take care of me. And so finding that balance of someone who we both, like feel safe with, we both desire in different ways, like that helped me to kind of get back my active sexual confidence and like that ability to kind of have release. And yet at the same time, the very autistic wife, Erica, will sometimes say like if I want kisses, she's not a big kisser. If I want kisses, she'll be like, oh, go kiss the other one. And she said this to me last week. And I said, I've kissed her all the time. And you go, ew. So, because she doesn't like kiss sounds. And I said, I'm like, baby, like, I do kiss her, but I don't want, like, I could kiss her right now and I'm still going to want to kiss you. You are two individuals that are different and I want to kiss you. So, where can I kiss you? Where is okay? If your face isn't okay because it feels sensitive right now, where is okay? So, I'm finding out so often, these are not conversations people normally have.
No.
That's why I feel it's important to talk out loud about it, especially for people with disability, for people with neurodivergence, for people who don't like sometimes it's an autistic thing that she doesn't want to be, she's overstimulated, right? Sometimes it's a chronic illness thing. Sometimes it's just I need my own space right now. Like whatever it is, but I want to, like you said, I want to honor the boundary, but at the same time, I want her to know I'm here and I want you. And finding that balance is hard, and communication is the only way to find that balance. So when people don't talk about these things and they're like, I don't know how he feels. I don't know how she feels. I don't know how they feel. Like, oh, well, that's the first place we need to start.
Yeah.
You know, I do a little bit of relationship and sex coaching / pastoring. Depends on what space I'm in. I think it's funny that hasn't come up yet. I am a pastor in certain spaces. And yeah, just your normal, trans, queer, poly pastor. It's normal. And there's certain spaces that especially in spiritual spaces, it's so needed because we have so much that we carry with us. But even for those, like you were saying, Erin, like for those of us, I mean, just American culture in general is so Christian, and it is so tainted the way that we see our bodies and see and like societal expectations of our identities, our bodies, our sex. All of that plays into how we exist in the world, and especially how we treat and love each other.
This is why, this is a whole dissertation, but I can just make it a period. This is why I hate lesbian bed death.
Yes.
Because, and I'm not assuming that either of you identify as lesbian with the pronouns that you have, but we're in the same sort of like Venn diagram of queerness.
Oh, definitely.
100%.
Definitely.
Right. Thank you for not being offended. Sometimes I bring up the word lesbian and people feel so repulsed by the word lesbian, even if it's just like not their word. And I feel so sad about that because I love the word, even if it's not everyone's word. Lesbian bed death pisses me off so much. One, because it's a term that was brought to the community by straight researchers. And I don't think that a lot of queer people know that.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
Oh,
so this is not an
assholes.
inter-community dialogue. This is straight researchers studying lesbians. There's been a lot of debunking of that study, including like, what are we counting as sex? But also hold straight couples as the standard and the metric that we should be measured against. And I can tell you that I had sex with my ex-husband on a schedule that would mostly ensure that he was nice to me.
Ooh.
And I don't think that that is abnormal.
No,
I don't either.
I'm watching Vanderpump Rules because I'm an intellectual. Actually, at the Valley now.
I'm watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
I love it.
See,
I don't watch that
I
stuff, and I'm in it. I'm in it.
I have a feeling if I still had a television, I would probably be able to watch that stuff better now, just because I've done a lot of healing around it. But when I was in my late 20s and early 30s, I could not stand just the toxic energy around all of these people who were basically playing caricatures of themselves. But
now
the reason,
there's empathy.
Well, right. But the thing is,
now
the
I'm
reason
empathizing with
well,
with
right.
them.
And that's the thing is, like, the reason why I was saying it back then is because of the fact that I hadn't done any of my own work. And so I was just feeling all of their negativity come through the screen, because they are definitely they are coming from a place of reactivity and a place of trauma and a place of not understanding their own needs, wants, and capabilities. But now, like when you talk about it, Jess, like I'm like, oh no, I can, like, because I'll even see clips on like from Reels or TikToks or whatever, and I'll just see little clips about it, and I'm like, oh, I understand why they're doing it. I understand like where their frame of reference is. Like, I fully am completely empathetic with why they are doing what they are doing, because at one point in my life, I was there.
Well, and this is informing people, which I think is interesting. It's like, this is where the pulse of hetero culture is primarily, whereas like queer culture we're not relying on media to tell us who we are. Some of that seeps in, and that's why so many people are like, I wasn't an Ellen or whatever. But like, we're a cluster culture. What dykes are doing in Kansas is not necessarily the same we're doing. Anyway, on the Valley, there's a whole storyline about a woman who just had a baby and she's not fucking her husband enough, and he's mad about it, and it makes their relationship bad, because the other thing is that oftentimes in hetero relationships, sex is the connection point, because there aren't other forms of intimacy, or everyone doesn't have the skills for other forms of intimacy. So anyway, I'm like, that's the metric. That's the metric that we're supposed to be. And then meanwhile, over here, we're like, well, you don't always want face kisses, and you have a chronic pain, and there's 2 spouses, and all of these things. My wife and I have periods that are like pretty horny and then periods that are a little bit more dry. That makes total sense to me. And it usually has to do with like work schedules. Also, if the
Yes.
sun has been out in a while, and none
Yes.
of that is a metric in our relationship of anything.
Or where
other
you
than
are in
that
your cycle.
thing. Yeah. And like, no big deal, but it makes total sense that this woman just had a baby and doesn't recognize her body
Literally.
and is focused on the child and doesn't want to have sex. But that's the whole, and everyone's in the story with them. And the women are giving advice and the men are empathizing. And it's like, she just, first of all, I don't know why everybody knows about this. And second of all, it makes sense. She's so healing.
Literally.
That's the part. Like I was just like, one of my guilty pleasures right now is Threads, and I realized it is because Threads is basically millennial AOL. Like we have just overtaken. Like Threads is a millennial app. Like these Gen Zers that come in, they're like, "Oh, you guys," and it's like, "Get out of here, child! Like you have no idea what you're talking about. Do not speak of the ancient wisdom to me. I was there when it was written." And I saw this thread of this guy who was like, he had made a comment about like how his wife had just had a baby and she's like 6 weeks postpartum, and he's like, you know what that means? And he is just getting absolutely eviscerated in the comments by all of these women and men who actually fully understand what it means to be a partner when you are bringing another life into the world, where it was like, don't. So many comments were saying, your wife better leave you, and she better leave you yesterday, because you are a terrible, terrible man for just assuming that like 6 weeks, like six weeks in 1 hour, and we can get it done. And it's like,
Do you know about the husband stitch?
yes. I found out about that, and I about like I was ready
about
to.
This.
Okay, so Erin, do you want to explain it, since you obviously had the child?
When you rip like down to your taint, which is common,
yes.
they stitch you back up. They can add
do
an
know
extra
about
stitch
this.
they call the husband stitch so that you're smaller. My doctor lied and said that it was not at the 6-week appointment, that I needed a couple of more weeks, and then told me privately, because they were empathetic, it was a lady doctor, all of this makes me want to throw up. But they had said that because they wanted to give me a little bit more respite so my body could heal a little bit longer. I could be off duty for a couple more weeks. And I do believe that that was a kindness. And also, that's all insane.
Yes, that is all insane.
See, and and back to the sex of it all. When you start to understand how debilitating patriarchy is for not just women, but also for men. Because you can even talk about like this from like, and I'm obviously not a gay male. However, I can understand where the patriarchal expectation of a male presenting person who is sexually, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually attracted to another man, how that can go against everything, because you have someone who on the outside looks straight. We're like, it's not like they don't talk in a gay voice, so they don't have like super feminine mannerisms. They're just a dude. And according to all of society, they very much so pass as like a straight man. But everything about them is like, no, I like men. I am like, to say strictly dickly, I am strictly dickly. And I know for a fact that I don't ever want to be around a woman and their parts, because just like me and men going, ew, gross, they're like women, ew, gross. So it's like camaraderie, high five. We both understand that we are on the same team on opposite sides, but fully feel you. But when you break it down in terms of like the patriarchy of it all, it's like you're breaking the binary, because men who are attracted to other men have this expectation that you can't do that. Like that is not masculine. You have to be like the strong, independent man who can like take care of a woman and can provide. And it's like, okay, so then why are you getting mad that women do the same thing to and with other women? I'm very confused. And I have been and probably always will be.
I feel like that's it. That's the ANSI.
I'm confused and always will be. Yeah.
End, period, full stop.
No, I think what I'm hearing though is that patriarchy and this idea of like P and V is the only sex, it's so limiting. It's so limiting because I mean, like I get there's so many other components. Like you're up all night, you have a baby. Like there's so many things that you're exhausted. You're not even thinking about sex, right? Like if we're talking about a pregnant human whose husband desires them, that husband, if they're fully in it as well, like they're also exhausted. they're also feeding the baby at midnight, whatever it is, like they like, and I think that's when you start to see like the imbalance to a point where you're like, oh, you don't understand what you're robbing yourself of, bud. Like you're losing so much value in life and in sex. If for you, like vaginal intercourse is the only thing that will get you off connected, whatever, like, like there's so many other ways to be connected and satisfied and meet multiple desires. Yeah, it does. It hurts my heart. It hurts my heart to know that there are so many people in these, I don't know what, straight bed death scenarios. Like they're in those relationships.
The roommate predicament or whatever it's called.
It does. The thing about it though is like, even if the sex is happening, are they there?
That part.
There's no qualified. None of this really makes sense because having sex is not having sex. It's not all the same, right?
No.
And so in my relationship, when we're having like drier sex periods, we're probably doing a lot more nurturing one another because somebody's really stressed. I'm probably cooking more. If I need physical touch, but it's not available in like a sex format, I do what I call koala, which is funny that you said that. I'm like, can I just koala? And then we
literally send each other the koala emoji. That's our like, she's done this since the beginning where I was the tree and she was the koala. And when we first sent a koala to Jana, when Erica first sent a koala to Jana, I was like, oh, like, yeah, that's
because that does all the things. We're like heart to heart, but there's also titties, what I'm saying? I'm getting all the things. I'm really close. I can, and it's not sex, but it's getting that like physicality that I need.
Absolutely.
And then I have a wand if I need something else.
Literally.
And the K1 Kehlani music video, all I really need in my life. That's my morning routine when my wife's out of town, which is right.
I fucking love it. I love it.
K1 and Kehlani every morning. But there's like all these different ways that I can connect to her and all of these different ways that I can get my needs met with her and without her. And all of these different ways that I think about my physical wants and needs. And they're not tidy and they are not on a calendar of sex.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm so much more fulfilled than when I was getting the calendar right. And I really tried to do that.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. My wife Erica doesn't love NSFW text because she's a NICU nurse, so she's in a very different headspace. But our wife Jana is okay with it. And every now and then, if they're all gone, and I'm enjoying myself for a moment, sometimes even before I can text Jana, she'll text me and say like, "What you doing?" Because she can just tell, she can just feel it. She's energetically like connected enough to me that she's like, what you doing? And it's great. I love it. And then I watch, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and they're like having a huge fucking to do about the fact that he watches porn. Now, do I know what kind of porn he watches? No, like, is it ethical? There's all kinds of other conversations. But that's not the conversation.
That's not what they're talking about.
That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about the fact that he's just watching porn. He's getting satisfaction somewhere else.
And also a lot of them have never had orgasms.
Right. I know, it's wild.
That's the part that I don't understand the most is the fact that when people get so mad about like self-pleasure, I'm almost like where my brain goes is, oh, you're not mad that he is watching porn to pleasure himself. Realistically, the actual baseline, the foundation is you're frustrated that he is not desiring connection with you, and he is looking for some sort of fulfillment somewhere else. Because a lot of times, and this is something that I have realized just about like just broad strokes realization, women desire sex for connection, men desire sex for release. And because of that, there's a disconnect there, where a lot of
I think
times
that's also a societal trend.
No, very much so. And it's like it's but the thing is it's not it's a societal feature. It's not a bug. And that's the biggest problem. And a lot of times when you're talking to other queer people, they use sex as a point of connection. They don't use sex as a point of release, where it's like a lot of times if an orgasm doesn't happen, that's okay. I mean, yeah, like obviously you want an orgasm, because who doesn't love that feeling? Like, it's a fantastic feeling. I highly recommend it to literally everybody. However, when you are trying to connect with someone else, if an orgasm doesn't happen, that doesn't mean that the connection wasn't there. The connection is still there. You are still building a part of your relationship. You are still progressing your relationship because of the fact that you both came to this connection with the sole purpose of connecting, not orgasming.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's not the only way to connect, which was like
exactly
my major issue in long-term relationships with men, is that was like the way they wanted to connect with me. And I had a hard time and also if we felt disconnected, that would be the go-to. And I don't want to have sex with people I don't feel connected
to.
And so then that was just like a constant, I don't feel connected to you, so I'm trying to fuck. I'm not trying to fuck because I don't feel connected to you.
Well, and I struggle there. A little bit of that is relatable. Like there's like for me, a stress release can be like if I'm in a really stressful headspace, sometimes sex is what I desire. Whereas that is the opposite for my spouses. Absolutely opposite. And if we're all in stress, that's not great. That's not great at all. What's nice is that doesn't often happen. Most of the time it's one of us is in stress or two of us is in stress, maybe, but not all three of us. But that aspect of like, I want release, or I need something. I need to be loved. I need to be cared for right now. I've really enjoyed like being allowed to just ask. I've said that recently. Like I didn't know that was allowed. That I could just ask for connection in that way or release in that way, and that I don't want to just do it by myself. Like, is it okay if I don't do it by myself? I'm real good at doing it by myself. But is it okay to not do it by myself? Like, would you do this with me or by me or near me? And it's, yeah, of course. Like, this is love. Like, I love you. Like, it's not the norm, so it's okay. Like, and I've really appreciated. That's been a newer realization, like in the last years, that I can just ask. You know, it's been great.
Welcome to patreon.com/queer consciousness podcast. What can I get started for you today?
Hey, are there any specials?
Specials? Yeah, we have a bunch of specials. What are you looking for, something in particular, or do you want me to just list them off for you and you could pick?
Yeah. Can you list them off?
Sure, absolutely. So our first special for this particular month is the community support. It's a wonderful tier that is the base of Kit's blogs. With every post and every conversation that we have, Kit posts a conversation, basically all of their internal thoughts that they didn't get to say during the conversation. You can like definitely taste that a little bit, as well as a Patreon only exclusive chat that we have with all of the guests. It's absolutely a beautiful finish when it comes to that particular drink.
Well, that sounds pretty good for being so cheap.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, I want to hear the rest though. I want to hear the rest of the specials.
Absolutely. Totally makes sense. Got to get all the info first.
After the community support, we have the producer, and that is it's very rich, and it pays Jess for all of their hard work, and it's one of our absolute best flavors because it's the thing that everyone just keeps coming back to because it's just so solid.
I like the sound of that. I don't know. The producer kind of saying makes me feel like a little bit like, frou-frou. Like, like if I get it, I'm going to feel kind of like, hey, I have the producer. What do you have? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You could walk around.
Is there anything else? Are there other specials?
Yeah, we have one more for this month. We only have three specials for this month. Next month we might have a couple more, but for this month, the last special that we have is called the Patron. And it is a very solid, very particular flavor because it starts with a very strong base of helping the podcast stay running. And then after that, you can have hints, you can taste hints of being able to pay Jess a salary, as well as being able to support the queer community with a really, really, really beautiful finish of having the ability to sit in on a conversation with Jess and Kit.
Oh, damn. You know what? If I'm thinking correctly, my wife is going to want the patron, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to want the producer.
Solid. One producer, one patron coming right up. Can I get a name for the order?
Hey, listeners of Queer Consciousness. Clearly, you have excellent taste, so we wanted to introduce ourselves. My name is Elise, they, them.
I'm Carrie, she, they, and together we created our podcast Proudly on Record to give a platform to queer stories as an act of resistance.
We would love to invite you to join our conversations with queer folks exploring the long-term effects of religious trauma, journeys of deconstruction, and the joy that comes from living life as your true, authentic self.
Lately, we've spoken with conversion therapy survivors, explored the sapphic drag queen scene, asked ex-Mormons how they survived without caffeine, and interrogated mental health experts on why. Just why?
So, if you've ever felt entitled to monetary compensation due to your religious trauma, or have ever wanted to waltz with potatoes up and down the produce aisle, have we got a show for you.
You can find Proudly on Record on all streaming platforms.
Now, back to our favorite theys, Jess and Kit.
Have you all seen the Worst Behavior music video?
No.
Who is
K1 and K1.
No.
Well,
Wait, are there people hanging rigged up?
there's one person rigged up.
Yes, I've seen it because I'm studying it for there's a few references for a music video that I'm producing right now. And yeah, I'm
That's my morning
talking-
routine.
Hell
Recommend.
yeah, that's good. I'm actually talking to a friend that's a rigger right now about potentially being involved and helping with the music video.
That video is cool because it's one shot.
Yes. Yeah, I love that shit.
So cool. I also
We're getting close to
help
time
produce
here.
music videos.
Yeah.
Oh, do you? Aaron, we should just chat offline then. It sounds like we have some things in common.
And my friend just sent me a screenshot from yesteryear. I finished it, but she's reading it now, that book I was talking about. And she's highlighted, I felt like I needed to throw a dish towel over his penis and wait an hour to let it rise. That's so funny.
That is fantastic.
So savage.
The sourdough reference of it all is fantastic. That's hilarious.
It's so good.
That's brilliant.
If you read it,
Gosh.
I want to talk about it because there is an element of queerness in it. And I have sat with it long enough and I still don't know how I feel about that as written by a straight person. It's just like a touch of is someone gay or is that what happened to her?
I added it to my Audible already.
Right.
So
I listen to books. It's a good reader.
it's the only way I know
Oh,
how
that's
to
good.
read books well. Is
Yeah,
by listening.
narrators can make or break books. I have DNF'd books because I heard great things about the book. And then I got the audiobook and I was like, this narrator is god awful. I can't.
There's a book called The Bartender's Pride, which is a slutty gay book. It has one of my favorite is the first time I felt like it was, but you don't want the narrator. It was the first time I felt like my desire was in a slutty queer book because the owner of this bar is like laying on the floor and I think corduroy cargo shorts fixing something. And the narrator walks in and sees this and is like describing these like shorts. And I was like, because usually it's a totally different, and like naked butch is different, right? And that's a fun thing. But like it was just the first time that I was like, tell me about the shorts. Anyway, super fun. And it's written by a Scottish person. So the narrator is Scottish. And I wouldn't say this if Scottish people weren't white, because it would probably be problematic. But something about the Scottish accent and saying the word pussy really takes me out of it.
I can see. I can hear it. I can hear
And I
it.
had to stop because I was like,
female?
I'm supposed to be in and I'm so out.
Is it a female voice or a masculine voice?
Female voice.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. But I can hear it. I can totally hear it. Well, sometimes you're like, oh my God. And they're like, wait, hold on. Those consonants and those, that doesn't, nope.
And like a physical reaction. Like I'd be on a walk and I'd be like, Jorts. And then like, what?
As someone who loved Outlander, I'm trying to think of like, I mean, I find Scottish men's voices really attractive, but I'm trying to think of like a woman saying pussy right now, and I'm having a hard time with it.
The premise is awesome. It's like the 7 deadly sins are embodied by both people and floors of this bar, and the narrator is an ally that goes to work at this gay bar and then discovers new things about herself. Also, it's kind of a sex club. I don't know. The story's fun.
That does sound fun.
I wrote a short mini series about the 7 deadly sins, so that sounds even more interesting to me.
Incredible. If you write anything slutty, please write about jorts for me.
Okay, I will. What's the name of the book again that you just said?
Bartender's Pride.
I'm gonna listen to the little like
blurb.
Yeah, the little sample just to see.
That's always
Not right
a good
now,
time.
but later.
Yeah. One of the things that I like and just to kind of wrap up the entirety of our conversation so far, it has been really interesting for me because, like, Erin, I've been listening to a bunch of your podcasts because I find the Lesbian Peep Show fantastic. I absolutely love it. And one of the last episodes that I listened to was the Womantown episode. And Jess, this is actually where I got the idea to text you, because of the fact that like we have such limited understanding of our own queer history because of the fact that we don't really have many true queer elders. Like in terms of like boomer queers, I'm using air quotes around boomers for the audio listeners. We don't really have any because the majority of people who would be in their late 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s now, had they lived through the AIDS crisis of the 80s, their stories would still be told because they would still be around to tell them. They would still have had all of these lived experiences. And the fact that we don't have a lot of queer history because of the fact that we don't have queer elders, to bring back the sex of it all, when you're able to talk to people who have lived more experiences than you have, you're able to learn something that you don't necessarily have to actually learn, because you can learn it by proxy, where it's like, I can be smart and go to my elder and say, hey, I'm dealing with this situation. Advice, help, bouncing off ideas. I don't know. Like, I thought about doing this, and they can look at you and be like, that's a stupid ass idea. Don't do that. Why? Because I did something similar and it blew up in my face. And it took me about 4 years to figure out not to do that again and then come out the other side of it. Let me cut that time by a lot for you, and have you not do that at all and just learn from my lived experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's podcasts like yours where you have all of these different people from all of these different places, and they're sharing their lived experiences, especially as someone who, like, I'm only 38. And so I haven't hit my 40s yet. So when I see and hear people talking about their 40s, I'm like, oh, so like growing up when I was a kid, when people would talk about their 40s, that's over the hill. You're halfway dead. Like, you might as well start digging your grave because your life is halfway over at this point. Like, you better start getting your life insurance policies and make sure that you know the local morgue and that you have a plot in the local the graveyard
I
because
know,
that's
it's
where
such
you're going.
bullshit. Yeah.
And then now, as someone who is like a half a skip and a jump away from 40, and I hear all of these like 40-plus-year-old lesbians talking about how their life is so much better in their 40s than it was in their 30s. I'm like,
I love it.
oh, so I have something to look forward to? It's not this like terrible thing that is at the end of my life going.
Also, why are they all hot? Like, why
So hot.
are they so fucking hot?
Because we stop looking like cherubs. I think
Yes.
that young people look like cherubs, and then we become like adults in a way that is very sexy.
Yes.
Mhm.
Very,
Yeah.
very sexy.
Mhm. Which is like the perfect segue to like, honestly, my favorite question. Like I was so proud of myself when I thought of this question, because as I was like developing the podcast, I was like, I need to have some question at the end that I can like wrap up this whole thing. And this question took me about 2 months to figure it out, because I was like, I want to do something like this, but I don't know how to word it yet. And so then when it came to me, I was like, absolutely, this is my favorite question. I absolutely love asking it. Erin, knowing what you know now, having lived the life that you have lived, if you could go back to your 21-year-old self and give her one single piece of advice about sex, what would it be?
Figure out what you want to say yes to.
Yes.
Yeah. I spent a lot of times trying to work through how to override my nose. Some of that was
Mhm.
having sex that I shouldn't have been having and not knowing that there
Yeah.
were other options for me.
Yes.
A lot of that had to do with being femme and not seeing that in the world. But also just like getting hung up on what other people wanted from me, what other people felt like I owed them, what it meant to owe people sex. All of this was about like, what are the no's and how do I protect myself from my no's, instead of like, what would be awesome? What do I want to say yes to? What do I feel really open to? And even what am I curious about?
Yes.
Because that's a word I think that when you're on the periphery of queerness and like looking in, curious is a really demonized word, because
Yes.
curious straight girls
Yeah.
ruin people.
Yes. Yeah.
When really like curiosity is the beginning of all sex. Like
Exactly.
something I've never been curious about as a man, for example, but I'm very curious about queer people.
Uh-huh, yeah.
So, like, curious isn't bad. Maybe treating people like experiments is bad, but what are you curious about is a great question.
Definitely.
And from that curiosity, what do you really want to say yes to? Those would have been way more exciting questions than like, what kind of girl I am and how do I protect myself from no's?
Mm. That's so good. I'm
Uh-huh.
surprised it didn't come up in this conversation, but I do like to use when people talk about emphatic yeses, I like to also bring up curious yeses, because I think that it's an important thing to be allowed to feel safe enough in a sexual relationship to say, I think so. Yes, for now. Yes.
Yeah, and if you're
I'd like
doing
to try
something
that.
new, it probably is just curious. A lot of my fantasies, I think, are actually no's.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm curious. Curious is a good question.
Yeah.
Curious is worth checking out.
Yes, exactly. And if you're in a safe enough place with the right person, they're gonna be checking in enough, and it doesn't always mean verbally, but they're gonna know, like whether they need to straight up ask, or they're saying like, are we still on the yes territory? Like, are we still going into this? Or have we started to lean the other direction?
Yeah.
But absolutely, it's all a spectrum. Like that, the whole idea of an emphatic yes, like you need a lot of practice to get to an emphatic yes, in my opinion.
Well, and the experience to know what that is.
Exactly. You can't have never had sex or never done a certain position or never done a specific like role playing technique and have an emphatic yes. I just don't think that that's possible.
No, it's why I feel so sad for all of the women in my DMs that are like, I just am so jealous, but I don't think I could ever XYZ usually eat pussy. And I'm like, because you're so excited about men's hygiene. Like, that's not
Right.
But
Also,
like just conceptually, most sex things sound like a bad idea. And they sound like a bad idea to me if I'm not in the mood. Like if I just woke up and you want to put a body part in my face, that's probably not.
No.
The context matters and the
It
experience
does.
matters.
Context matters. And depending on the season, I'm not always eating pussy. It just depends on the season.
If it's pussy eating season.
That's the title. We found the title for this episode.
You know what's so
pussy
funny
eating season.
is my friend just had a birthday party this last weekend, and her birthday theme is always sluts. And I do burlesque on occasion, and so I have like a Rubbermaid tub full of burlesque clothes. And my wife is a Virgo, so am I. But she's like a Virgo-y Virgo. So she has label makers, and I couldn't find my hoe clothes, and they were marked seasonal clothes. And so I've been hypothesizing: are they for hoe season?
Yes.
I love that.
Oh, that's
season.
so good.
Post season.
So good.
We've got quite a few good bangers on titles here.
Yeah, we do. At this point, I'm just gonna be like, just pick a title. Like, just pick a title at this point. I'm all game for whatever.
Erin, you've been so much fun, and I love when we get a guest that we can do the gambit of emotion with, and you've really, you have a great smile and a great laugh, and I've really enjoyed just like hanging out with you. So thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. And glad to have a new friend. And look forward to learning more about you in the future, and also maybe meeting your wife. Like, your wife sounds like a dope ass fucking person.
She's so hot.
I bet you guys together are just a banger team. What a cool relationship. I just really love learning about you. So
I was like, I highly suggest going and following Erin on all of her socials, because she is absolutely fantastic, and the ones that she posts about her wife are just chef's kiss.
She's so great. We're both very bossy, like we can be. We're very in charge, and I love going to watch her at work because she's in charge of everything, and I love being reminded that she tells everyone what to do. But
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. Yep, I hear you.
It's the epitome of Jill Scott said in an interview once, if you can tell me what to do, you can tell me what to do. And we both have that.
Trade off being daddy? Is that what you're saying? We love a switch.
Yeah. Oh, fun. I knew that this was going to be great. Is also a kitchen standoff. We actually had a standoff in her kitchen when we first started dating, and I don't remember what it was, but same situation. I'm doing something. I turn around. She's standing in the kitchen. We're arguing about something, but something fun, not something like fundamentally wrong. But we were both like ready to draw a line in the sand. And I turned around and put my hands on my hips, and I saw that we were standing at each other in the exact same way. And I was like, well, that is fun.
Fighting like this is fun.
And now my mind is somewhere else, and let's just go with it. That sounds
we just are like having a top off all the time, and it's great.
I love it.
That's so brilliant. I love this so much.
That's
Erin,
fun.
I second Jess and what they said about coming on. Thank you so very much for coming on, being so open, being so vulnerable, being a shining light for the queer communities, and being one of the dykiest, best dykes I know.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. Every once in a while, we'll hear that dyke is reserved for, I don't know, people who aren't me. And it's so funny because I'm like, never, ever does like a super queer person think that. That's insane.
Nope.
I
wish you were near LA. If you ever come out here, I'll have to take you to Dyke Day in June.
I want to go to Dyke Day so bad.
It is the best Pride experience I've ever been to in my entire life, and it's the only thing that we prioritize during Pride. It is the longest volunteer run free Pride event, I think.
Oh, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
I always get excited about the itinerary, fucking leg wrestling and dog parades. I'm very into Dyke Day. I'm in LA quite a bit, actually, because so much work happens there.
Yeah.
So I'd love to do that. And also, should you ever want to have a really cheap vacation, our Dyke nights in Kansas City are like 400 or 500 people. And they're really fun. And our community, they're usually at bars to 21 and up, but it's like 21 too. The Womantown women will come sometimes. And so that's like 70, 80-year-olds. So it's really cool.
That sounds fun to me. That sounds like a blast.
It's so fun.
And I love the Midwest. So I'm
it's
down.
Like, funnily enough, I actually have a friend who lives in Missouri. And there's a part of me that's like, well, if I ever get down to Missouri, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump to Kansas.
It really is.
All right. Well, let's wrap up so we can do the Patreon exclusive.
Oh, amazing. Until next time.
This podcast is hosted by me, Kit Sargent, co-hosted and produced by Jess Grace Garcia of Springwood Productions, and the theme music is by Brian Smith of Holy Holy Music Productions. If you could do us a huge favor and please like, follow, comment, share, do all of the things on all of the socials. You can follow the podcast on Instagram @_queer.consciousness for all the latest episodes as well as any other exciting news. When you're listening on Spotify, please leave a 5-star rating and use the comment box for anything you'd like us to talk about. When you're listening to Apple Podcasts, please leave a comment and a 5-star rating. If you'd like to be on the podcast, send a message to queerconsciousnesspod@gmail.com. If you'd like to support the podcast, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/queerconsciousnesspodcast. We are trying to grow as organically as possible, and this helps other like-minded people who want to empower and encourage others on their journey. So until next time, remember to stand in your truth and know that you are worthy, just as you are. Hey friend, just wanted to take a quick second to remind you that if you or someone you know is struggling and don't know where to turn, the trained volunteers at the LGBT National Hotline are here to help. Because sometimes the strongest thing to do is to ask for help. The National Hotline phone number is 888-843-4564. And if you want to check out the other things that they have available for them to help you with, you can check out the lgbthotline.org in order to be able to see all of the services that they offer in order to help our community.